And the ones who have heard about it sometimes have trouble believing it exists since they're not able to see it under their microscopes just yet.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 mental health depictions on sitcoms.
The reason I came to Chicago is I wanted to thank you for believing in me when I didn't, and for encouraging me to accept the help I needed.
For this list, we'll be looking at the most notable characters through which sitcoms tackle topics of mental health thoughtfully, authentically, and respectfully. Some plot points will be discussed, so beware of potential spoilers ahead. Which sitcom do you think nailed the subject of mental health? Let us know in the comments. Number 10. Uncle Ned, Family Ties. Perceptions about substance use disorder have changed over time. So for an 80s sitcom to tackle alcohol use disorder in such a sincere way would have certainly been groundbreaking. In this Season 2 episode, Uncle Ned, played by Tom Hanks, struggles with drinking.
You think I'm drunk? You think I am drunk? Let me tell you something, buddy. I'm drunk.
We see how this affects different parts of his life, from his professional endeavors to his relationship with his family.
Uncle Ned.
Let me tell you something. Ned Donnelly marches to his own drum, so don't think you can come in here and prop me up with some pious platitudes because you were wrong. Why don't you just get out of here, huh?
When they try to intervene, he initially becomes defensive and lashes out. What makes this episode so remarkable is how the writers get the audience to understand and sympathize with Ned, rather than judge and demonize him.
You have a drinking problem, Ned. You need help.
I do not have a drinking problem, and I do not need any help.
Yes, you do. Admit it. I think you should call Alcoholics Anonymous.
It's a message that still needs to be heard today. Number 9. Christy and Bonnie Plunkett, Mom. Allison Janney and Anna Faris play a mother and daughter on the road to recovery following battles with substance use disorder. The show has become acclaimed for the way it addressed a plethora of difficult topics with sensitivity and often humor, and for good reason.
Well, good for you. The healing starts when we clean up the messes we made.
Mom demonstrates that the path to sobriety isn't always smooth. Struggles come in many shapes, and there's no one right way to recover. Executive producer and co-creator Chuck Lorre shared that a lot of research went into depicting these topics in a way that felt, quote, honest and true.
I can't believe it. She was fine at the party. How did this happen?
They even teamed up with Dr. Vivek H. Murthy for a PSA on the severity of substance use disorder and called for more, quote, compassion and help.
Behind these numbers are families who need our compassion and help.
Because addiction is not a moral failing, it's a chronic illness.
Number 8. Kimmy Schmidt, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. Kimmy Schmidt is a pluckier than average go-getter enjoying her freedom after 15 years of captivity.
Smile until you feel better. I call it Kimmying. Watch.
However, we soon see that her positive attitude and big smiles are part of a deeper inner struggle that has been widely likened to post-traumatic stress disorder.
Titus, I'm fine. I don't need to talk about it.
Kimmy, you yell in your sleep, you bite my nails, and we still don't know why you're afraid of Velcro.
Kimmy's past and its long-lasting effects are explored through flashbacks and triggers that affect her day-to-day life. Season 2 starts delving further into the subject when she starts going to therapy.
If you don't deal with whatever you're repressing, one day your body is gonna take over and do something rough.
And anytime Kimmy interacts with a fellow mole woman, we're reminded that there's no one way to cope with trauma. While her story is typically told through a comedic lens, it doesn't detract from exploring truths that'll feel real to many. Number 7. Chris Traeger, Parks and Recreation. This government employee is literally the happiest and most upbeat person you'll ever meet. But as we get to know him, we see a deep-rooted sadness begin to seep through his otherwise sunny disposition.
Run a 4-minute mile. Climb Mount Everest. But before I can do that, I need to climb the Mount Everest of my mind.
Chris obsessively takes care of his physical health and is basically prepared to outlive us all. However, we later learn that he also relies on exercise for his mental well-being, and it's relatable.
Lots of disappointment. But if I keep my body moving and my mind occupied at all times, I will avoid falling into a bottomless pit of despair.
Eventually, he starts working through his depression and anxiety in therapy, showing that mental illness doesn't discriminate and treatment isn't linear. At the end of the day, Chris is a multifaceted character who shows viewers that they're not defined by their struggles. And actually, it's good to feel your emotions.
A few months ago, the thought of an infectious disease, even hypothetical, would have sent me careening towards Bummerville. But now, I am infected with the killer virus, and I feel fine. Therapy!
Number 6, Dr. Kevin Casey, Scrubs. It's believed that roughly 1 in 100 adults across the United States has obsessive-compulsive disorder.
Super doc.
Fine. A super doc with obsessive-compulsive disorder.
Yet it's still highly under- and misrepresented across various media. People with OCD tend to battle uncontrollable and intrusive thoughts that they feel can only be alleviated through repetitive, compulsive actions. Many series, though, fail to grasp the scope of the condition, oversimplifying it in portrayals.
You see, he has obsessive-compulsive disorder, and he likes to start each day the same way.
Bink, bink.
By touching everything in his first patient's room.
Bink, 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 bink. Bink, 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 bink.
But this guest appearance from Michael J. Fox in Scrubs shows just how debilitating this misunderstood disorder can be. Dr. Casey's compulsive behavior is initially played for laughs. However, when JD catches him hours after surgery still washing his hands, the pain and frustration caused by his condition are on full display.
Even though my last surgery was 2 hours ago, I can't stop washing my damn hands.
Number 5, Dorothy Zbornak, The Golden Girls. The Golden Girls was ahead of its time in many ways. Remember the episode where Rose battled her substance use disorder?
What makes you such a medical expert? The doctor prescribed those pills and I only take them when I need them. Have you ever considered the possibility that you might be dependent on them?
It also broke new ground, showing audiences how mental and physical health intertwine and that not all illnesses are visible.
Raising my arms to wash my hair in the shower is too exhausting for me. I can't even do that. I have heart palpitations. I can't concentrate. I forget things. I get confused.
In this season 5 two-parter, inspired by creator Susan Harris's actual experiences, Dorothy tries to find an explanation for her ongoing fatigue and general unwellness. One doctor notably dismisses her symptoms since he can't see anything wrong.
There's nothing wrong with you, Dorothy, except what happens to all of us. In case you haven't noticed, you're not 30. Take a cruise, Dorothy. Go to a hypnotist. Change your hair color.
Eventually, she sees someone else who gives her the validation she deserves and diagnoses her with chronic fatigue syndrome. As for the other doctor, he gets a talking to he'll never forget.
You know, someday, Dr. Bud, you're going to be on the other side of the table. And as angry as I am, and as angry as I always will be, I still wish you a better doctor than you were to me.
Number 4, Rainbow Johnson, Blackish. It's been reported that 1 in 8 women across the U.S. may have experienced symptoms of postpartum depression. Among them is Blackish writer and executive producer Corey Nickerson, who, after sharing her story, discovered that several of her colleagues could relate.
Well, I don't know, I feel sad.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel hopeless, and I feel overwhelmed, but I don't feel empty, so I guess it's a no for me.
Okay.
She noted how little is known about the condition in the mainstream, and how it's not an easy diagnosis to receive.
But postpartum depression is a mood disorder. It's not something you can just power through, and it is nothing to feel ashamed of.
In the show, Bo struggles with postpartum depression after the birth of Devante. Her story arc shows how it can affect anyone and be a harrowing and lonely place.
I am struggling right now. I cannot seem to make enough milk. I feel filled with anxiety. I feel weak. I feel embarrassed because of all the things that I can't do.
Nickerson said she hoped the episode would help anyone who related feel less alone and more seen and encourage them to seek help. Number 3, Jesse Glazer, Big Mouth. Big Mouth depicts a group of teens with hormone monsters who tend to affect their actions and behaviors. It also does a phenomenal job of representing mental illness in a powerful and relatable way.
I don't like who I am when I'm with you.
I see. Well, maybe we should just take a break.
Good. Yes. Go.
All right, good.
Kitty Boucher, aka Depression Kitty, enters the picture in Season 2, silently stepping into Jesse's life. After taking over from Connie, she grabs hold of the teen and refuses to let go.
I want to go with Kitty. What? No! Kitty's right. I am so tired of fighting and feeling bad.
Oh, no! I can help you!
Even though Jessie manages to defeat her at first, she makes several subsequent returns, illustrating the highs and lows of the condition. We'd also be remiss not to mention Jessie's struggles with anxiety. Eventually, with therapy and Connie by her side, the character learns to manage and cope, and her journey is nothing if not realistic.
What happened?
I don't know. Whoa! Honey, you shrunk the cat!
Wow, I guess helping Nick made me feel less depressed.
Number 2, BoJack Horseman. BoJack Horseman. This animated Netflix series surprised audiences with its poignant and thoughtful approach to mental health.
Like sometimes I have this tiny voice in the back of my head that goes like, hey, everyone hates you, and they're not wrong to feel that way.
I know what you mean.
BoJack and other characters struggle with depression, substance use disorder, and more. It's a raw and gritty take that shows how these battles impact everyone, from those struggling to those around them.
Because you keep thinking under all that, nothing. There's got to be something, but all you find is nothing.
It also shows that recovery is a continuous journey, but every tiny step is a win. And although the initial intention wasn't to craft a show about mental health, the authenticity of these storylines has resonated with many and made them feel seen and heard. Creator Raphael Bob Waxberg shared how he's most proud of hearing how the series has helped people.
And he said, "BoJack, you ruin everything. That's what you are."
Oof.
And it actually took him saying it out loud for me to realize how stupid that is, even though I believed it for so long.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Several characters, one day at a time. This underrated sitcom tackles everything from depression and PTSD to anxiety and substance use disorder. But it also skillfully examines mental health through the lens of race and generation.
When she describes me being on antidepressants as the great family shame.
Well, at least you can be a better example for your kids.
Oh no, they don't know about my great shame.
Indeed, for a long time, Penelope hides her battles from her kids. In turn, Elena initially doesn't share that she's experienced anxiety attacks either. Episodes like Season 2's Hello Penelope and Season 3's Anxiety explore the complexities and nuances of mental health and recovery in a way that have undoubtedly resonated with many.
When people tell me, be happy, you have a great life, that makes me feel like garbage because I know. But what's wrong with me that I can't appreciate that?
We also see Penelope's ex Victor struggle with PTSD, and both he and Schneider battle substance use disorders. Through this representation, the show teaches audiences that open conversation is the best way to stomp out stigma, and does so powerfully at that.
Are you not happy?
Oh, honey, it has nothing to do with unhappiness. It's a chemical imbalance, and it runs in our family. And it's nothing to be ashamed of.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.